Hello student, now we have to discuss about geography paper first, physical geography, lithosphere part second. Now we have to study about chemical weathering and biological weathering. During the last lecture we have discussed about mechanical weathering where changes in temperature, freezing action of water and rain play important role to disintegrate rocks. About the chemical weathering that disintegrates rocks by changing their chemical composition is known as chemical weathering. Chemical weathering is most dominant in a equatorial climatic region and humid temperate region. In this process, decomposition of rocks takes place mainly by the action of water and air. Chemical weathering is most dominant in equatorial climatic region and humid temperate regions. In such regions, rainfall and temperatures are high. Chemical weathering involves the uh, some processes. As we know that chemical weathering mainly takes place mainly by the action of air and water, and the equatorial climatic region receives maximum more and more rainfall throughout the year, and temperature conditions are also high throughout the year. Similarly, in humid temperate regions, chemical weathering is dominant. Chemical weathering involves some processes. Among them, oxidation is one of the process of chemical weathering. Oxidation affects metal and metallic compound to produce oxides. This is most seen in rocks containing iron. Iron is a common element but usually occurs in a ferrous state. This may become oxidized to the ferric state, forming a brown or yellow crust which breaks down easily. Then hydration म्हणजेच जल अपघटन. The chemical union of water with a mineral is called hydration. When the pure rainwater enters the pores of rocks, it increases the volume of certain minerals. Feldspar is a cheaper mineral which is affected by the hydration, which results formation of clay. Another effect of hydration is that rocks become softer and so easily eroded, and consequently chemical weathering is active in the regions of high rainfall and temperature. The regions which receive more rainfall and having a high temperature, there is the rate of chemical weathering is high. Then the another process for the chemical weathering is carbonation. It is a dominant weathering process in humid temperate regions. carbon dioxide from the atmosphere gets dissolved in rainwater, and the rainwater becomes a dilute solution of carbonic acid. Due to this process, calcium carbonate in the limestone dissolved, and the insoluble compounds of this rock becomes loose. This dilute acid reacts upon chalk and limestone, and finally they composed they decomposed. Then the process another process is a solution. The rainwater is able to dissolve certain minerals. Through this process, many minerals are washed out. For the example, rock salt and gypsum, etc. In this way, the chemical weathering is carried out by the different processes, and these are oxidation, hydration, carbonation, and solution. Then biological weathering. Biological weathering or organic weathering. Biological weathering is chiefly carried out by plants and animals. They bring about both mechanical and chemical weathering of rocks. Plants and animals including man, largely controlled breakdown of rocks. It may be pointed out that in all types of weathering, in all climatic regions of biotic communities play some roles in one way or the other. Recently, man has become a most become a weathering agent because of the development of modern technologies. Biotic weathering is divided into three types, that is faunal weathering, floral weathering, and anthropogenic weathering. Faunal weathering: the burrowing animals, worms, and other organisms helps in a gradual breakdown of rocks or fragments thereof. Burrowing animals include dogs, foxes, rabbits, jackals, termites, rats, etc., which dug out burrows and tunnels in the rocks and consolidated geomaterials as their living places. By doing so, they weather the rocks and geomaterial to great extent. Then, floral weathering. Weathering of rocks by vegetation takes place in two ways, that is physical weathering and chemical weathering. Then anthropogenic weathering. Man being a biological agent accelerates and decelerates the natural rates of weathering by many folds. The economic and technological man, lashed with the modern technologies, has become the most powerful weathering and erosion agent. Mining activities for extraction of minerals, then quarrying for industrial and building materials, etc., results in a faster rate of disintegration of geomaterial. Then the growing roots of plants and the burrowing animals, when burrowing animals widen the cracks in the rocks, Due to wide cracks, more water and air can enter, which brings about chemical weathering. As we know, the chemical weathering is chiefly carried out by action of water and air. Similarly, these agents of weathering are also responsible for mechanical fracturing of the rocks. The burrowing animals such as ants, termites, rabbits, squirrels, dogs, etc. try to break fresh rock material. In such process, rocks are disintegrated in fine particles. Earthworms bring large amount of finer particles of rocks to the surface of the earth. In this way, the organisms undertake useful work in disintegration and decomposition of a rock. Thus, the biological weathering is carried out mainly by plants and animals. Next will be continued during next period. Thank you.